Welcome to the Slade ham experiment, y'all. That's the Texan in me saying y'all. I'll get to a lot of stuff. I want to talk about some things. We'll do guilty pleasures in this one. I'm gonna bitch about some of the same stuff I do, but also some new AI. My thoughts on Bigfoot. I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is why this episode, like every episode, this podcast, if you will, is I keep saying it, not something for public consumption. The fact that you're here tells me something about you concerning. If I was your doctor, you stupid fruit fly, when you have a studio full of whiskey, there's always one. And I'm sorry for this is why. Do you see the chaos that I live in 24/7? There's always just one fruit fly. There's no more than one flying around here. But if I kill him, one more will appear. They're like video game villains. I don't understand it. So I'm gonna keep an eye out. My point is, this show is disorganized, even though it appears a little bit organized. I broke it into segments to force myself to at least think in segments, but this is still just the inside of my brain thinking some stuff out. So you can rant poetically and it still just be a rant. This is if I did this on purpose, I would do one a month and they would come out like John Oliver episodes. And by the time you're done, you'd have learned something, right? There would be some content. This is anyway. Let's talk. One of the most frequent questions I get when I ask you guys for questions is, what is your guilty pleasure, Slade? I have many. I don't speak of them often. Some I do. Some because they've fought their way to the forefront, and other people have realized that they're cool and they're no longer guilty pleasures, and they've been ruined and stepped on and Disneyfied. So I don't, what's left? I'll tell you what's left. I just got to live through it. It was beautiful. Eurovision 2024 just happened. I haven't even listened to the whole thing yet. I've been saving it like a tasty morsel hidden on a Spotify playlist just for me to about a third of it'll be okay. And by okay, I mean it'll be crappy Euro pop, but it's exactly what I want sometimes. My musical tastes have changed so drastically my entire life. For a while, you listen to what you're exposed to, then you listen to what your friends are listening to, then you listen to what you like, or actually before that, you listen to what you think you like. There's like roads to music, and then how much of that do you hang on to and keep and bring with you into the future, right? When I was in the 6th grade, me and my buddy Chris Cruz used to sit in the back of the bus and listen to NWA. We knew every word. I'm glad there's no videotape of us doing every word because we were in the 6th grade, and this was all new to everybody. And that's what I listened to. And then throughout the years, I changed. My musical taste changed. A lot of punk. Some modern hip hop. A lot of punk though. A lot of rock and roll. A lot of metal. That stuff goes in. But you can't write to that stuff. I can't throw on an old Bad Religion album and write comedy, not without absolutely writing comedy like Bad Religion wrote punk music. It's too influential. So what I try to do, I try to write all the time to music with no lyrical content. That's a big one. Classical stuff, lo-fi stuff. But also foreign music, world music. I've been doing this since way back in the day when XM was XM at the time, before Sirius even. They had a channel just called World Music. And they just threw anything on it that was, because the world wasn't connected. This was like 2005. Satellite radio had just come out. We weren't all pinballing with each other across the world. So they were like, if it's not in English, it's world music. And you might get Julio Iglesias, who I'll talk about here in a second. But you also might get some tribal Papua New Guinea hip-hop group that, not hip-hop, but like just doing those vocal thing, Didgeridoo music was on there. Anything that would have been on the soundtrack to Moana, all of that was in the World Music channel. I used to love that stuff. So Eurovision happens every year. 30-something countries enter. 30-something countries enter. One country leaves. And it's a music contest. There's a movie about this. I think Will Ferrell's in it, or I'm making up an ice skating movie, or maybe they're two things, or maybe I don't know. But these songs and these performances are so over the top. They represent, because if you're in one of these countries, man, this is like your thing. This and World Cup. That's all you got going for you, right? If you're Georgia, I don't even know if they're in this contest or if they're really in Europe. But if you're one of these countries, it's a whole thing. You fight your way to the top. You win. It's like Miss America, but with talent. So these Eurovision winners of the past would shock you. You write it off as it's America's Got Talent, which it kind of is. But shows like that in American Idol have launched how many careers now? So Eurovision, kind of their version of that, but it's been going on forever. Do you know who's won? The biggest name you'd recognize is ABBA, 1974. They won. You know who they beat? Olivia Newton-John, also a Eurovision contestant. She placed fourth. A couple of years before that, in 1970, Julio Iglesias from Spain. In Eurovision. That's where this dude came from. Nobody knew who he was. He was playing, I was about to say Mexican restaurants. Whatever. Restaurants in Spain. They're not Mexican in Spain, even if the food is. So the point, who else? 1988. Oh, that's the biggest winner. From Switzerland, do you know? 1988, who won from Switzerland? Celine Dion. I know. I thought she was Canadian up until just this second. Wow. I guess she was, okay, and she lives there now. You can be a lot of things. This one's interesting. In 2012, the UK, normally these are up, if you go watch the people competing in Eurovision, many of them are young, vibrant personalities. They got something to say, a message. In 2012, the UK was like, none of that. No siree, not this year. They dragged old Engelbert Humperdinck out. Yeah, I know. I don't know what he actually sings. I think he sings a song called Cuando, 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 and I'm not really sure how it goes. And then I remember him being on the soundtrack to the Beavis and Butthead movie in like 1996. And the song might have been Lesbian Seagull. That, don't quote me. I'm not even sure that's the name of the song. I almost said it was Don't Cry For Me, Lesbian Seagull, but I know that's not the title. So, anyway, he got his ass beat. He was like second to last. He didn't even, everyone laughed him off. He's a ridiculous specimen. My favorite winner, 2003's lesbian Russian duo, Tattoo. You might know the song "All the Things She Said." That was pre. You couldn't even find good point. The point is that was a good year. I wasn't even watching it then. I didn't know they were from that. This just reinvigorated me. Yes, Slade, you're correct to like this. This year's winner, no one cares about. A band named Nemo. Song called "The Code." I listened to it. It bored me. I'll listen to it again. It might be fantastic. It's really not. It's Euro trash pop. It's terrible. It's not actually Euro trash pop. That's probably a whole different genre. It's just European, and it's garbage, and it's pop. So I call the year that I discovered Eurovision in earnest was 2022. It's just a scant few years ago. And I was in Poland. And this was May. This was early May. This was 3 months after the invasion of the Ukraine. And we were on the Polish-Ukraine border. There was a bunch of army units getting ready to move out. And who was that there? Was that me, Trey Tutson? Who else was on that tour? Paul Otto and Chase DeRusso? Was that the tour? I think it was. Yeah. So because we did Poland, we did Lithuania, we did Bulgaria. I'm remembering this tour now. What I remember the most was sitting in this little bar in Poland, and we might have been in Warsaw. I can't remember exactly. And Eurovision was on the TV, and it was really cool because everything was, remember when America cared about the Ukraine, right? Remember when that was the thing we were all on top of, and everybody turned everything yellow and blue for like a day and a half. And we were like, go Ukraine. And then we went back to killing each other and yelling and screaming and stuff. Yeah, well, it stuck for a little bit there. But at the beginning, everything was yellow and blue. So we're sitting in this bar, it's all Ukraine, and then Ukraine, they won that year, and the song, listen to me, it's called Stefania. It's by the Kalush Orchestra. I did a whole thing on this on Slade Runner, but that song has a flute solo that would make, I don't know if they're dead in Jethro Tull, but probably. But the guy who played that flute in Jethro Tull, him and the Pied Piper and a high school music teacher, the only people I know that play flutes, all got up out of their graves and walked over and gave this dude a standing ovation. It's pretty insane. I think I could actually show you some of this. And then, of course, the main reason I like the weirdness of Eurovision is the weirdness. And this, before we change subjects, Subwoofer. Yes, with Give That Wolf a Banana. I wish I was making this up.
And before that wolf eats my grandma, give that wolf a banana, give that wolf. And before that wolf eats my grandma, give that wolf a banana, give that wolf. Give that wolf.
Yeah, they're from Norway, and I think the song's about giving the vaccine to old people. Speaking of Europe, you dastardly folk. I'm kidding. I love Europe. I want to go on tour there and never again here. Actually, working on it. Europe is what got me thinking about this next thing, because I was talking about how American fashion, which I am not a part of the culture. I am black jeans and a t-shirt on most days, and those are dress-up days. The rest are sweatpants days. I watch, though, the way the fashion changes, and it's always Americans. This was interesting. Everything's a copy of a copy of a copy. Americans look at Europe for fashion tips. How should we dress? What's hip in Europe? That's what we'll do. But Europeans are looking at Americans for what's hip and what's hot. So you get this weird cyclical downward photocopy of a photocopy until nothing's really original. And that's why people dress up like hamburgers on the runway, or you got to put on giant shoulder pads, or have stilettos made of real stilettos, or say slit the throat of 7 different models in order to get the attention of the, you know what I mean? That's about where we are. And it's all because everything is a replicant of a replicant. And as ChatGPT announced just before I recorded this, before it comes out, the new 4.0 chat that is going to be conversational and more capable of looking at visual objects, text, things that you've written, things that you've taken a picture of, things that you've downloaded. You'll be able to put all of that in, and it'll be able to integrate the images and the voice and the to text, all of that at the same time, while giving you should look at the demo. It's pretty insane. Specifically, see if I can show you this part.
Hey, ChatGPT, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Pretty good.
What's up?
So my friend Barrett here, he's been having trouble sleeping lately. And I want you to tell him a bedtime story about robots and love.
Oh, a bedtime story about robots and love? I got you covered. Gather round, Barrett. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Bite. Bite was a curious robot, always exploring.
I started this story, but I want a little bit more emotion in your voice, a little bit more drama.
Got it. Let's add some drama. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Bite.
No, ChatGPT. I really want maximal emotion, like maximal expressiveness, much more than you were doing before.
Understood. Let's amplify the drama. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Bite.
It's kind of trippy, and I don't even think it's gotten where it's going yet by a long shot. So when you're seeing all this AI artwork, saw some country musician post something. I can't hide it. I've tried. I follow one friend who's a country musician, and now everything that comes up on my page is country after. I can't hide enough of it. It's that and some lesbian comic they keep showing me. I've hidden every version of her I can find, but I must have accidentally thumb clicked it once so it thinks I love it, or it tracked my eyes when I was rolling them, or whatever it did. Anyway, this guy posted his album cover, and it's clearly AI. You can tell. I know because I use it. The point is, you got to use it judiciously. If you're a country artist, your American flag can't have 17 stripes on it, you knuckle face. Fix that. We know. And this is what's happening. Everything devolving just a little bit, right? Reality TV into formulas. That's all everything we digest is. I know this because it was reality TV that is trickled down into our YouTube content. Everything is created with the exact same formula. Do you know you can track it? I think it was Ninja Warrior or the Physical 100 or whatever it is. You can put waypoints where the action starts in these episodes. And it's like the 7.5 minute mark. There's a tick, and then they drag you out, and how long the tension portions are. I think I've talked about this before, but it's trickled into YouTube. I was longing for better days earlier today, and I went, can I just hook up an old phone? Wouldn't that be great? Because now everything looks like an iPhone. Not because that's the best design. It's not by a long shot. But because it's the leader that works. So everything afterwards has to be designed just like it. And no one wants to take a chance and roll the dice on anything big. Even if they do, we just laugh at them, right? That's what we do. Bring that different shit in here. We are I people. Remember the BlackBerry Pearl? The BlackBerry in general? The Pearl was the last one I had. I went to look online and see just if I could see like someone going through the functions of it, just so I could have that nostalgic memory. Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. I got you, little fly. I'm online. I find this video. It says, this is the irony. The whole thing is a formulaic video. And it's this English guy, and it's terrible. It's already got as many views as my special. It's an English guy from 4 years ago using a BlackBerry Pearl. It's shot in 2020 or some shit, but it's tagged as living with the phone in 2023. It's none of the above. And it's just him saying all the formulaic stuff that you get on a video. Make sure to leave a comment if you own this phone. And then his weirdly sexual, ambiguous friend, it has just 4 facial hairs, so you can't quite tell what they are. It makes a comment, if you like Brickbreaker, make sure to click the like button. If you like Brickbreaker, listen to an English person say, if you like Brickbreaker, click the like button, is one of the funniest experiences in the whole world, just for the record. But this is the point. This is the whole point. That this constant washing of a premise, of an idea, of a way to do things into a pattern, it makes it so simple. It's why you can watch a TV show and fall asleep and wake up and still know what's going on. It's why you could probably change the language to Spanish and you would still know what's going on, because it's not driven by actual story. It's driven by emotion and context clues and facial expressions and tension and, most importantly, creative editing. So has technology made things better for us, or is it making things worse? You would think that I would say worse, that I am a Luddite or a future hopeful Luddite or a person praying for an EMP or someone hoping that things were simpler. I don't know that I am. I'm not certain that I'm willing to stand against the tide of what is coming. I don't think it's possible. I think we're headed there. But if we've got all this technology, why are there still no pictures of Bigfoot? Why is the Loch Ness Monster still a myth? Why is there not a single UFO video worth of crap? There's more CGI UFO footage than purported actual stuff that people shot. And that's including reflections on windows and all of the dumb excuses for why things aren't actually UFOs. The real answer, aside from the Fermi paradox on that ladder, is none of that stuff is real. There is no Bigfoot, no matter how much I want there to be. I used to believe, but my belief has been beaten down by the sledgehammer of technology. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there was the same amount of footage of Bigfoots. There's no more. No more than there was then. But back then, you had to do it on a camcorder. Do you understand the difference between technology then and technology now? And how we don't have any Bigfoot footage and people are still going to Bigfoot conventions and talking about how Bigfoot is still out there. And I want to believe, buddy, I want to bet a coonskin cap to your coonskin cap, but there's just not. You know why? Because someone did the math on Reddit. And in 2022, this is 2 years ago, there were an estimated 6.4 billion smartphone users worldwide. I don't know how many of those live in the woods of wherever Bigfeet live, the Pacific Northwest or the Himalayas. In comparison, camcorder sales topped out at 5.3 million worldwide in 1997. Then the sales dropped off heavily from there, right? Those are camcorders. You had to take a tape, stick it in, ka-chung, ka-chung. You had to put that thing on your shoulder damn near. Those things spent 90%, 80%, for sure, half their lives in a bag, in a closet. You ain't carry that around with you. Yet somehow, all this footage of Bigfeets. And now all these people, crystal clear phones in their pockets, and nobody can point them at the sky in a way that makes sense. Nobody can get one clear piece of evidence on any of these things. We got congressional hearings and the best footage the military can get their grubby little hands on, and everybody's got a camera in their pockets, and the sky's right above us each and every night, and no one has managed to capture a single damn thing. It's incredible to me. Osama bin Laden was in a cave in the middle of Afghanistan. Nothing there. Not a smartphone to be found. And they put that dude in a bag in like a year. I know it wasn't a year. It was like 8, 9. I don't remember when. We broke the news on a podcast, so it had to be at least 2012. It took a decade, but we got him. And Big Feets were coming. Just send SEAL Team 6, 7 after them. Anyway, this weekend disappointment. I want to grumble for a second, because I wanted to show you this footage, and then it made me grumble when I thought about it. My brother is a fisherman. He has a fishing channel, ham fishing, and he was out at Searim State Park, out by our old stomping grounds where we grew up, a little Texas Gulf Coast, and he saw about an 8-foot alligator just kicking it on the beach. I didn't know they were around saltwater. I didn't know alligators go on the beach. They really don't. It's very rare. But they're back on the other side of on the other side, inland. Alligators everywhere. So he films this alligator. He posts it online. It goes viral, millions and millions of views, as one would expect. A picture of a video of an alligator, not just a video of it. Look at it. It's my nieces in the background that make the piece. Alligator, alligator. So it goes viral. I release my brand new special. It's out now. Go watch it. I get a comment on a post I make on my page, not about my brother. And it's from the producer. What's his name? Scott Lawrence. I'll give your name. I won't give your information. At KFDM. Scott messages me, hey man, I'm trying to get a hold of your brother about his alligator video. And I'm just sitting here, right? Like I got this piece of art right in front of me. I just finished. I was really proud of it. It didn't just walk up on a beach. So he leaves his cell phone number. I text him. I go, hey, I'd be happy to connect you to my brother, right? Because in my head, if this helps my brother, if it get some people to his fishing channel or whatever. But I go, I grew up and I'm a, what's the word? Citizen of that's my hometown. I own the comedy club there for many years. I'm a product of that place. I just put out a brand new special. I'd love to do a piece with you guys. Oh, sure. Yeah. Can you just give me your brother's number and then we'll talk about it? And I knew. Anyway. That's the problem. You can't put anything. You know how hard it is to put a comedy special out as a me? Like I'm well past you're a straight white male. I get it. But like if you put out a comedy special, you can't just send out a press release. They'll just look at it like, is he coming out? It can't just be a comedy special. Does he have, certainly he's got some disease we haven't covered yet, or can you imagine if you were just watching the news and they were like, up next, so-and-so's got a brand new comedy special. And you would be like, what is the twist? There's no way it's a regular white dude putting out a comedy special. They wouldn't cover that. Is he a dwarf? He must be a dwarf. Which, I don't know how that's any better than midget, which got me kicked off. I'm still kicked off TikTok for saying that 22 times. Dwarf is not better, right? They mean like almost as good as. Dwarf planet, dwarf galaxy, dwarf star. Those are scientists saying all that stuff. So they know what they're talking about. You got to be something. That's the point. He must be the first. Got a comedy. He must be the first African Italian immigrant into Canada who's ever requested asylum here to compete in the men's 300-meter chicken javelin at the Children's Festival of Pawtucket, Connecticut. He's the first one ever. He's so brave indeed. How many words could I just stick in a row? That's what it always feels like. They put one more qualifier on them. Triracial, trigender, first person. It's to the point where your accolades mean nothing. Why do I sound so bitter today? Because I found out, I was looking at my lineage at my brother's house over Mother's Day, and it keeps changing on Ancestry.com. It was one thing growing up in my brain, because that's what they just tell you what you are when you're born the way I was. You just go, you're half Irish and half Lebanese. That's all I've known my whole life. Ancestry breaks it all down. And, you're 40% Levant. I don't even know what that means. He sounds like a singer from the 70s. And then I'm the other almost 30-something% UK, British Isles. I don't know what any of that means, but Levant should have gotten me some scholarships along the way. I grew up, my grandfather playing so much Middle Eastern music, the dances of Port Said, I remember. It's probably like the album everybody's parents or grandparents bought. Probably came from like the 70s equivalent of a Tuesday morning or something. My family's Middle Eastern. No, just racist. No, my family's very Middle Eastern. I appreciate that. And the Levantness of our culture. And I do wish I knew what I could do with it. There's got to be a grant or something. I have yelled enough this episode on this show that's not a thing that you've managed to stick around to the end of. More information on the contest soon. That is going to happen after, somewhere towards probably the beginning of June. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to the end of the last episode. All the information's there. Not really all of it, but a little bit of it. Enough of it for you to make a decision about what you're going to do. Go pimp the special. Go tell a friend. Go take care of yourself. Do something nice for yourself. Go do something that you normally don't let yourself do today. The next thing you talk yourself out of, talk yourself back into it. I'll see you guys on another episode soon.